Battlestate Games just changed everything. In this video, we're going to be covering all of the recent changes to grips, foregrips, pistol grips, and the compensator mechanisms that have been changed. So that comes down to flash suppressors, actual suppressors, muzzle adapters. All of these things have received insane changes within the game, and it has totally changed the way that we build weapons inside Escape from Tarkov. In this video, we're going to break down 3 separate guns, what their previous best build used to be, and what the new best build with that gun is going to be, as well as we cover the foregrip changes and the pistol grip changes. Those will be near the end of the video. There will be chapters down below to show you where each different gun build is, and where the foregrip and pistol grip changes we talk about are as well. And there'll be a little sneak peek at the end about the different ADS changes from nonlinear or from linear to nonlinear ADS that Nikita talked about. There are some revisions that he posted on Twitter literally today. So stick to the end to see what the changes are. So as you guys can see here, here is the MK47. This is what used to be the meta MK47. There are slight variations that different people used, but for the most part, this was the meta MK47. So as you can tell, we have the QDC and the QDC suppressor on here. Now this was the best for ergo, the best for recoil, and it was suppressed. So when it comes down to how loud your gun is on the map, how far away enemies are that actually hear you, it was the best. Now, I understand that some of you may not know this, but if your gun is suppressed in the game, it changes the distance that enemies will actually hear those gunshots from. So if you have a suppressed weapon, certain suppressed weapons, enemies actually won't hear unless they're super, super close. And with this update, I know it's going to be very controversial to say, but without playing it, I have not played it, gonna be honest. Literally haven't played it. I haven't played the game in at least, 2 weeks. But so now we'll dive into the specifics. So right now, this is what used to be the previous best. 28 ergonomics with 81 vertical and 201 horizontal. Now, your best attachments that you're gonna see are going to be the BMD device. So it's an attachment of 3. It's a set of 3 attachments. Now we're going to be almost 20 more ergonomics, 1 less vertical and 2 less horizontal. So it is the best in class for recoil and ergo. So if you're running for the best gun possible, you're going to want to run loud, at least with the MK47 specifically. But you're going to have the downside of everyone on the map is going to hear you depending on the caliber of weapon. So with the MK47, this gun is fairly loud. On a map like Streets, if you're shooting over in Lexos, people are going to hear you all the way as far as the other side of Pinewood, possibly even further. But there's actual reason to decide now. And I'm probably going to be running only loud weapons. I don't care if people hear me. I don't care if more people run towards me. But if you're having a long engagement, you're going to be in danger now. So keep in mind that other people who are rushing to PvP, when they hear you shooting, if your engagement is very long, it's going to give them a lot of time to sneak up on you, to know exactly where you are, to come from anywhere on the map. And this, in my opinion, can make PvP really, really fun. All right, so you may be able to easily pick up Killer 7 in every raid now, with people easily able to W key straight towards the fight without mega suppressed weapons that you can't hear outside of 50 meters. So let's go and check out another gun suppressor. So we're looking at 45, 71, 204. Now this is basically best in class. So here's the new best loud HK. This is significantly better when it comes to ergo, vert, and horizontal recoil. I guess technically would even want to swap out this grip. This is what your new build will look like in 2026, at least for this foreseeable future. Pretty insane that you could run this loud. But once again, you're going to be dealing with the fact that everyone is going to hear you across the map. Let's dive into some more changes they did. So we're going to hop into one more build. This is a very, very popular gun, obviously the NL545. So here's what I previously used to run as, my best in class, my go-to build. I'd run this with maybe a scope on it, or I'd just run this red dot. Depends what kind of map I'm playing and how I'm feeling, honestly. So it'd be with the G-Lock suppressor and the MP4 SD suppressor, or that's your compensator, and here's your suppressor. And this would be your pistol grip. And the foregrip that I'd be running would be the canted. So this is what it normally look like. Now, we're going to both grips, the pistol grip and the foregrip, and the suppressor are all different. These are once again, the main takeaways we're gonna have. So likely now you'd see me running something along the lines of, now something like this grip is very, very similar to also just straight up running one of these grips. So running something like the SE grip, the thing is the game doesn't break this down. It's something I really want to point out because not a lot of people see this. So here's what I want to point out real quick because not a lot of people see it. So things like this SE grip right here, they just tell you recoil, but they don't actually break down the recoil numbers. They do not play the same into the game. So that recoil is a combination of vertical and horizontal. These grips affect those things differently. So here with the SE grip, you can see we're at 64 and 184. But if I were to swap it out to this suppressor, this GFM lock, that's 1.8%, it is different. It affects the horizontal different, but the vertical is exactly the same. So honestly, this is probably, when it comes to style, probably something I'm going to run fairly often now that it is a very comparable foregrip. Something I think BSG may have actually done a good job with this rebalancing. And now the best attachments when it comes to muzzle are probably between the Aeronox. I'll show you guys right here. So this weird Aeronox that I have on here, the Aeronox Butterfly for 556. It's between that, the Alien Tech, relatively similar, kind of just depending on your budget and whatnot. The Alien Tech is also very, very comparable. Basically, no difference between these guys. Yeah, like one recoil difference between them. And the ST6012, this guy right here, which was previously the best loud attachment you could run if you wanted to run loud. Between those three, it's really not going to make too much of a difference. But overall, this build is going to be significantly better than the build where we have it suppressed now. So, but once again, you are not going to be suppressed. So the whole map is going to hear you. But after we change those two things, and then we change over a pistol grip to any one of the style choices we want, or if we want to go for best in class, we throw on that ergo grip. These are the new stats of what our best in class gun is going to look like. And this is more importantly, now, let me point out to you guys, this growl grip, the pistol grip with the holes in it, that no longer is the best. You're actually going to see this ergo grip is better. So it's slightly better for ergo and it's slightly better for recoil. That's vertical and horizontal. I'll pull up the details here for you guys so you guys can see the difference between the ergo and grip. The ergo grip is now better. It has more 0.4%, so basically almost 50% better ergo reduction over the growl, and it also has better ergonomic improvement now. So now we're back to this grip being the best in class. Kind of just flip-flopped, so they kind of even them out more. The difference is a lot smaller than it used to be. The differences between these used to be 4 to 5 points of ergo, as well as like a relatively similar in recoil reduction, but they definitely did minimize the gap in a lot of these pistol grips. So between the pistol grips, the difference is this is 0.7 plus 5. We're looking at 0.9 plus 5. Like basically all these pistol grips that used to be pretty good but not the best, they're all pretty normalized now. So there isn't necessarily a bad pick for pistol grip, but if you're looking for your absolute best in class, it is going to be the ergo. So we're gonna go over a couple grips real quick. So here we have the Zenit RK2. Obviously, it no longer takes away recoil or ergonomics. It gives you ergonomics now. Its recoil reduction is about 2.8. Basically the same thing as the Zenit RK1. We're at 2.7% recoil reduction and plus 1.8 ergo. They're basically the same grip. Now it's kind of a style choice, which one you'd prefer. Before this, the RK1 was kind of, or RK2 was kind of out of the running for me. It basically made no sense to use. The gun is, it just destroyed your ergo and it wasn't worth the recoil control. I mean, in my opinion, it's not very hard to control recoil in this game at the current moment. So these two grips are kind of the same, and the SE5 even. So the SE5, you're looking at a 1.4, so about half as much recoil reduction, but you get quite a bit more ergonomics increase. So this will definitely be a choice between grips like the Gangster grip or the RK1 and the SE grip for sure. Here might be a decent balance of both, where you look at things like these Magpul grips, these canted Magpul grips, these little angled grips. They're actually look like very, very good in comparison now. You're looking at 1.9% recoil reduction, so it's more than your gangster grip, but it's less than your SE5. But you're also or it's more than the SE5, sorry, but less than the gangster grip. Um, but you're also ergo is a lot better than the gangster grip, but just a slightly worse than SE5. So this might be your new best in class, most balanced grip is these canted grips that fit directly on. So going to quickly summarize, if you're looking for best in class attachments, the game has changed. When it comes to pistol grips, it's now the ergo grip, not the growl. The growl used to be slightly better. They basically the same stats, but the growl was technically better because it gave slightly more ergo. That was it, and it was also weighed less. So now the ergo grip is back to being king when it comes to foregrips. You're going to want to be looking at like some of these pre-made attachments like this right here, like these things, these new M-lock grips. They're relatively pretty tied up there. These other M-lock grips are also up there. When it comes to foregrips, our foregrips, are gonna be all relatively comparable. Your best in class now is still the SE, the RK1. This guy is really, really good. Technically your best in class, but they're all so comparable that it really is a style choice now, depending on which one you go with. So muzzles, loud is better. Suppressed is only if you need to run suppressed now. And I think it's going to change your lobbies a lot. It's going to be a lot more style into it. Pistol grips, kind of a lot more style. If you want best in class, though, you definitely still have to go with the ergo grip. The ergo grip is a decent bit better than all the others, to the point where it's slightly more than a style choice. Kind of like if you have the extra money, put it in, it's worth it. But it's kind of a value statement. Like if you think it's worth it, then go for it. But for a lot of people, it's not gonna make it. It's not gonna make or break it. When it comes to the foregrips, your foregrips are all kind of the same, honestly. Like you have a lot more of a diverse group to choose from, so you can get kind of your style choices. You can go with these straight on M-lock grips, either one of them. They're all great, comparable to each other. Or if you want the extra, style, you can throw on the canted grip. Still very good. Still best in class for his horizontal recoil, probably. That your SC grips, or like we just had on any of these kind of canted, slanted, ankle grips or whatever. Um, and then you're gonna have to go over the best in class for each muzzle, but it's basically going to be one of the loud muzzle attachments. Very similar to what previously was the best, but now they're just significantly better than suppressors. So something like that, or the ergonomics, or the alien tech. These are all relatively similar in class, kind of a style choice, kind of a sound choice. When you test them out, they will make different sounds. So it's something to definitely look into. Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna go over the changes to ADSing that Nikita is proposing. So Nikita is proposing these changes. I'm only gonna show you for a second. It's very weird ADSing. It's kind of like this weird shoulder jiggling movement. Because he wants to promote realism in the game. Something that obviously I don't give a fuck about. It's a video game, man. We're having fun. We love that we can take the part. Realism when it makes the game actually better. We don't need realism when it makes the game less fun. Okay? Anyway, he's already backtracked this, and this is the new updated ADSing that he is proposing. So, as you guys can see right here, it's not linear. There is a slight ramping up to the ADS sequence, and your sight jiggles for a second when it comes to scopes, which I am actually totally okay with. And this is definitely a good balance between what Nikita wants and what the community wants. It's definitely a compromise, and I really appreciate Nikita for doing that. Let me know what you guys think. Um, I don't think we needed the name change. I'm also a fan of things that increase the skill gap inside of Tarkov, and reduce. I think that we need to, maybe this is a controversial opinion, but I think we need to increase the amount of friction there is between using a scope and using a red dot sight. There should be a lot of upsides for using a red dot sight versus running a scope. Because right now we're kind of back to the scope meta where people are like pixel peeking with a scope again, and it kind of kills out on the pacing and the fun of the game. And I really am not a fan of it. I would much, much prefer us to go there to be an actual bonus for using a red dot or using some type of hollow, as you see like going on screen right here. Like it looks like there actually might be a significant reason to use a hollow. Seems like it's a lot faster, but I would have to break down the timing. the way the character, there's a lot of things moving on the screen at once, so it can be misleading and look like it's faster when it's actually not. That's what used to happen with the canted sight. When you turn the gun sideways, a lot of people thought that you ADS faster, but when you actually broke down the timing frame by frame, it was not faster. That might still be the case here, and I'd honestly say that probably is. But overall, I do think red dots should be faster and scope should have more of a punishment and more of this, ramping up of a non-linear ADSing curve. And it should probably take longer to ADS with the scope versus without one. Obviously, there will be a performance difference between the two. You can shoot much further away, much faster, much easier with the scope than you can with the 1X. But there needs to be some kind of upside to running at 1X like there is in real life. And I can tell you, it is much easier to quickly look down the barrel at close range and fire off a few shots than it with a hollow sun or with a 1X or with an SRO than it is with a scope. I have a little bit of experience. I can tell you, anyone else who has experience can tell you that that probably is a good balancing change if they were to do that as well. So anyways, that kind of covers the video. Just muzzle attachments are definitely changing. Loud is now the way to go. Suppressors are not it anymore. I showed you guys a few of the best in class attachments. They're pretty universal around the table. I went through the most controversial guns, hardest ones to find with the most attachments. When it comes to foregrips are all kind of balanced out. If they were close to best in class or best in class before, they still are. So things like your RK canted grip, your RK2 is now actually decent around the table. Your SE grip is okay. The angled foregrips are very good. And your mag pull M-lock grips are now great. The ones that go straight on the rail, no middle, M-lock attachment needed. The ones that go straight on are actually really, really good now. They're basically the best in class. So you have a very large choice in foregrips that still make your gun the best in class for a wide variety of budgets. And when it comes to the pistol grips, now the growl is still good. Any of those like weird hollowed out grips are all just as good as the growl, but the ergo grip, the one with the big block on the bottom, is going to be your best in class by a little bit. Not enough to make or break the gun. So those are the changes. As you guys saw the recoil in the background, that's everything for today. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time.